Alright, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So if you guys have been watching the channel for a little while, you guys might remember that I painted these door handles, and well, I painted them the wrong color. So I looked up the gold color for a 99 F250 and it brought up Harvest Gold B2. Well, I found out that this, since it's an early 99, it was technically built in 98. They actually used the paint code that goes on the F-150s and Lincoln Navigators, which is light prairie tan metallic, which obviously does not match Harvest Gold. Harvest Gold is a lot darker of a color, so these did not match. But we got a fix for that. So Denver, Mile High Duramax, loves supporting the channel, and he sent me out a whole 6-pack of some light prairie tan metallic paint, and we're gonna get these door handles fixed right up. So I do have to pull all of them back off. I have to rescuff all of them and respray all of them. And this one, since the paint was still soft when it was getting put on, we've got some wrinkles that we have to fix here, little chip right in there. This one we'll be going over and just stuffing it up, since we're going to be painting color over top of it. I don't have to worry about any of these black flakes that came out in the clear coat that was stuck in my gun. But we're going to have our first official color matched pieces on the truck, and these are actually going to match. So I'm going to throw you guys up on the tripod. We're going to get all these taken off. If you don't know how to get these door handles off, go ahead and click right up here. I'll have a card going to the previous video where I showed how to get these door handles off. Alright, terrible start to this video. There's two of these nuts that hold the door handle on. Well, this top one fell off and it stopped up on top of the door actuator, and I went to grab it and it fell, and it sounded like it stopped like right here. But I've spent the last 15 minutes digging through this door with a magnet in my hand. I've pulled all the, I guess, like heat film or sound deadening, whatever you want to call this, back. I've went through this side. I've went with a flashlight. I cannot figure out where the hell this nut went. I've fell all the way down over here in the corner, all the way across the bottom, all the way up this side, all the way through the bracing rail. I can't find this freaking nut, guys. It like disappeared in Narnia. Okay, well, I never found the nut. I know it's still in the door, so while the paint's drying on these, I'll look for that instead of wasting more time on it. But I got these all taken out. I got our lock cylinders taken out. This is our passenger side. This is our driver's side. And as you can see, these lines in the paint. And watch right here. See how that's moving? The paint has like never fully hardened, and it's been done for over 2 months now. For whatever reason, it never fully got hard. Watch. That should not be able to do that with the paint. So I'm going to sand it down. Maybe the primer underneath never fully hardened is my guess. I don't know. Maybe it's the clear, but I'm going to get the sanding these down, and we'll throw our coat of paint over top of them. they are all completely sanded down. I did 400 grit, and then I did the scuff pad, which is that right there. And what the 400 grit's gonna what it's gonna do is smooth down any imperfections. Like we had the ridge right here, we had the ridge right here. Smooth those completely down. We had a couple spots on this one we had to smooth down. This one wasn't too bad. And this one had the worst part of it. And then this one. Then we went over top it with the scuff pad to kind of get rid of any of those sanding marks. And now we're gonna wipe them down and go ahead and spray them with paint. So we don't have any bare plastic. This is all primer. This is all primer. That's all primer. So we're gonna go ahead and spray all of them with our color coat. We're gonna do 2 coats of the Duplicolor, and then we're gonna mix up some clear. Now, since I had the issue with these door handles getting hard, and by hard I mean the paint getting hard. As you can tell, we've got a lot of soft spots, and I think that's coming from the primer underneath. I don't think the primer fully completely cured before I put the color coat on, and what that stopped it from doing was pushing out any of those gases and getting completely dry. So now what it's doing is just moving around. So my way of fixing that is I'm gonna go over top of it with a clear coat with a hardener in it. So that clear coat's gonna get extra hard, and hopefully that should harden everything together. If that doesn't fix it, what I'll probably end up doing is buying new door handles and painting those, because I'm not completely sanding these down to bare plastic. It'd be a lot easier and a lot less of a headache if I just bought new door handles. And honestly, I would probably just buy some gloss black ones and call it a day, because I'm not going to deal with that anymore. Alright, you guys know I'm always straight up with you, as honest as possible. We have 3 right here. 4th one's missing. So let me show you what happened with it. So I sprayed our first coat, and it like heavily wrinkled up right here. So I let it dry and I sanded it down, and it like peeled up, and underneath it is the primer. And as you can tell, it's like super gooey looking. And well, that just solidifies what I had said earlier about I don't think I allowed the primer to dry long enough. I think the primer was still kind of wet underneath, and when I threw that coat of paint over top of it, all it did was just trap in a bunch of soft paint and allow it not to dry. And that's the issue I'm running into with that door handle. Now these handles right here, on the other hand, besides this little section right here that I'm now noticing, you know, I'm putting my foot in my mouth. The first coat, they were okay. Second coat, this is what we're looking like. Come on, camera. You see all that in there? That's no bueno. So apparently we're having a chemical reaction. Story of my freaking life. I swear, every time I paint, I feel like I have a chemical reaction. So first coat, these dried out, were perfectly fine, not a single wrinkle. I just now finished the second coat. I did a wet coat because that was going to be my last coat. And you guys can see what happened. I kind of want to hit these door handles with a baseball bat right about now, to be completely honest with you guys. I'm trying to stay positive and be that great influencer, you know, YouTube, smile, everything's perfect, but this is like really absolutely pissing me off. First time I painted the door handles, they turned out pretty good. They were the wrong color, and then I had the issue with them being soft and never getting hard. 2 months later, I have the right color. I've used half a can of Duplicolor on them, and now we have this issue. After I've already spent, I did 3 hours today taking them out, sanding them, prepping them, just for that to happen. I'm tired of this shit, guys. So I guess I'm gonna let these dry, and see if that's something I can sand down, but I think I'm gonna hit them with a baseball bat, to be honest. Okay, so you guys wanna see something pretty crazy? I just peeled all that off by hand. That's a pile of paint. So I guess I'm gonna start doing this. Inside there I can't really get to, down behind the door handle, but I mean, that's not what people see. People see on the outside, so I'm just gonna start peeling this shit off by hand, let the primer completely dry, completely sand this thing down again, and start over. Because I got to looking online, and full door handles like this are like $100. You can buy covers to go over them, which I was kind of debating on, but I want them paint matched. I want it to look good, and so this is the shit I do for you guys. So make sure you go down, drop a like on the video if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button. I show you guys the good, the bad, the ugly, and I'm out here peeling paint off with my fingers just for you guys. That's love. Alright, so now that my fingers have become a major base of just primer and old paint, I'm going to show you guys the process of how I do this. This is the last one I have to do. It's a pile of paint that I've created, and these are the 3 that I've finished. So what I'm going to do is let these sit in the sun for about an hour or 2. Let this primer completely harden and dry. It's still going to dry. It was just being stopped before. So now that it's all out in the open, it's going to dry. And I'm going to completely sand these things down, completely smooth. As you can see, they have a stucco texture to them right now. So we gotta wait for these things to completely dry. I'm going to show you guys the process of how I've been doing this. Alright, so we've got our completely painted handle right here. And as you can see, we've got all the bubbles in this one, and there's some bubbles down here. This is probably one of the best out of that bunch, but I'm taking them all down and redoing them. If you look, we're still able to put lines in it, which means it's still soft underneath. So I've been just taking my thumb, pressing down, and pulling, and literally I can pull the paint back like that. So then I just sit here and I pick it and pick it and pick it and just pull all the paint off. It's a really long, tedious process. I've been waiting to eat my lunch till I got this done. So like I said earlier, you guys better hit that freaking subscribe button and that like on this video. This is the second video where I tried to freaking color match these door handles, and they apparently just don't want to be painted. I should have just left them black, I guess, because these things are fighting every step of the way to get painted. We're going to get them right today. I'm not ending this video until these door handles are the same color as the truck and they're completely smooth, because that's what I want. I want this truck to be clean and color matched, and I'm showing you guys how to do everything. So if you guys are doing this yourself, don't rush like me. I wish I would have waited like another hour for this primer to completely dry. I thought it was dry, it wasn't. I honestly thought it could dry underneath the paint, but I was wrong. You guys see, I've got this going. So along a lot of the edges, you'll have a hard time getting it to come up with your fingers. So I've just been taking the razor blade and scraping it up like that. Now, if you are doing this, say you're in the same boat as me and your primer never completely dried and you're trying to get it all off, be very careful, very, very careful. Please don't cut yourself. You're not supposed to cut towards yourself. You're supposed to cut away from yourself. But my fingers are becoming very, very sticky, and I don't have much of an option on how I hold the razor blade anymore. So I'm gonna speed this process up. It's gonna be a couple seconds for you guys, probably gonna be like 30 minutes for me. So sit back, enjoy, and see the finished product. Alright, so quick little update after we peeled all the paint. I let the door handle sit out here in the sun for about 3-4 hours, let that primer completely harden up finally, and then we hit it with some sandpaper, and look how smooth these things are now. So they are completely dry. They are not soft or squishy or anything like that anymore. They are completely dry. These two are completely sanded. I wet sanded them, so I'm gonna let them completely dry overnight, or at least for an hour or two. I may throw a coat of paint on them. I might not. I haven't fully decided. Hell, I might even just throw a coat of primer on them. That way it can fully dry overnight and bond with the original primer that's on there, since it's all nice and sanded now. See my little sanding area right here? We're in the process with this one. We've got some 180 grit sandpaper, and then I go over it with 400, and then I hit it with this stuff pad, clean everything up. I'm not gonna bore you guys with a time lapse with that, but I did wanna show you guys what we were sitting like before the sun went below the horizon. So, I'll catch you guys when we do the next big step for the handles. Nice. I thought I hit the record button, but I guess I didn't. But I basically just explained what I just did. So I went over these, sanded all of them, and then, I wet sanded them. So then I blew them out with my air compressor, got all the water, dust, everything out. I went over them, did a dust coat with the primer just to give the paint something to adhere to. Just finished the dust coat. It's the one and only coat I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give this like a solid 30 minutes to dry, and then I'm gonna hit them with some base, and I'm gonna let that completely dry overnight, gas out everything, and tomorrow we will hit them with a clear coat once everything is completely dry. Alright guys, so I never promote my merch on YouTube at all. I've had merch for probably just over a year now, and you guys never see me promote it. You guys never see me say anything about it, but I do wear it in a lot of videos. The bullnose shirt, the cat eye shirt. I've got one with the bullnose and like a cartoon drawing on the back, one with the cat eye drawing on the back, and I just dropped a new design, and it's my new saying on the channel: be fucking great. I absolutely love the saying. It's not anything crazy like I expect you to live by it, but I do like the saying, be fucking great. Like, it's something simple. I cuss a lot, I drop F-bombs all the time. Blue collar, mechanic, it's just what I grew up around, it's what I'm used to, it's the type of vocabulary that I've just gained throughout my 24 years of life. But, guys, go cop the new merch, be fucking great. I never promote it on the channel, so don't take this as like, oh, I just want your money. But if you guys would like a nice t-shirt, they are nice. I do wear them. I wear them all the time. My wife wears them all the time. A lot of my friends wear them all the time. They are comfortable. They are breathable. They're not terrible, cheap shirts. So I'm not just going to sit here and be like, this is the most comfortable shirt I've ever worn. It's not, but it is a nice shirt. And I did spend my own time and money designing these shirts and everything like that. So if you guys would like to go get your own, top link in the description, www.aaroncates.co. Go check it out. If you want a shirt, you want a cell phone case, you want a poster, you want a sticker, they're all on the website. Go check it out and support the channel, because all the money that you guys spend buying shirts, hell, even just liking the videos, every dollar I get from doing this goes right back into the channel, whether it be painting door handles, putting lights on the truck, wheels and tires on the truck, lift kits on the truck. Anything that you guys do by hitting the like button, subscribe button, or buying any merch, it goes right back in the channel. I don't go out and spend this money going to Vegas or going on big trips to Miami or anything like that. Every dollar I make goes right back into the channel. So if you guys like this type of content, then support your boy. Good morning, guys. The next day, and primer is all dry. I did a coat of primer on it last night. It's completely dry, but we've got one issue. You guys know these things looked horrible yesterday, and I had to completely sand them down, and there's things that you're gonna miss. So I missed, not a lot, but there was quite a bit that I missed on these door handles. So we're gonna go back over them with some 400 grit, get them nice and smooth, hit them with a stuff pad, and then we're just gonna go straight into color coat. I don't wanna wait for primer to dry. I don't wanna risk the primer not being completely dry underneath. We're just gonna give these a quick stuff, get everything ready to accept that new color, the color coat, the base coat, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna get these things nice, prepped, smooth, because there's no point in going through all this work just to be like, ah, screw it, I'll wet sand the clear and make it look smooth or whatever. You spent this much time, might as well just continue sanding them, get them looking right, And we'll finally have them finished today, fingers crossed. All right, so call me crazy, but I ran out of primer. But I've got a whole tote full of just old spray paint and stuff that I've never fully used what was in it, so I just saved it instead of throwing it away. And I've got a lot of Rust-Oleum 2x paint and primer in one. And I was like, you know what? Ford from, I believe it's like the early 2000s and back, used a red primer. Now it's not like cherry red, but it's like a clay red. And I was like, you know what? I've got some red Rust-Oleum paint that is paint and primer. Why not just go ahead and spray? One, it'll give me a color to see like what these are going to look like with the color on it, whether you're going to see all the lines, the little pinholes in the plastic, stuff like that. And this has a primer in it, and it's from Rust-Oleum, so it's going to help that primer harden and dry, because even after sitting overnight, over 12 hours, it still was soft to the touch. Still, when I got my sandpaper and was trying to sand it, it was burying itself in the sandpaper. If you guys can see this, it like puts those little ridges in the sandpaper where like it adheres with the sandpaper. So we painted them red. And now this is not how they're staying, but honestly it showed me that the ridges were not that bad. You can see just a little bit in there and a little bit in here, but it's really not that bad. So call me crazy, call me lazy, call me what you want, but I think I'm gonna let this dry for about 30-40 minutes, and then I'm just gonna go straight color over top of it. I was debating on just sanding this with the stuff pad, just stuff it up some, but depending on how this looks when it dries, I might just go balls to the wall and just straight color over top of it. And I don't know, maybe let that dry and see if it has a chemical reaction, because that seems to be how my life goes anymore, is spray paint gives me chemical reactions. Yeah, when we start doing some bid color matching, like when we get a move bumper for this thing in the future, and maybe even the mirrors, I think I'm just gonna order a quart of actual paint out of the gun, order some primer for out of the gun, just do everything the right way, because I'm tired of dealing with crap like this. We might just use the Duplicolor to do small stuff, like maybe inside the headlights, maybe some suspension pieces, stuff like that, where it's not too critical, but stuff where people are gonna see a lot, I want it to look good.
Get for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, and play pretend. Aim off the pins, I get it in, I get it in, I get it in. Get for my wins.
Alright, so we did I did about 3-4 coats of the Duplicolor. They don't look perfect per se, you can still see some of the lines, but guys, I'm so tired of dealing with these door handles. They've got a couple lines in them, they're door handles on a tow pig. Like, they're not gonna be perfect.
You should know that. All I know, 10 toes, never fold, bang roll, on the go, ice swole, ice swole, ice swole. Came for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, and play pretend. Aim off the pins, I get it in, I get it in, I get it in. Came for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, and play pretend. Aim off the pins, I get it in. My baby, so I hit them on the FaceTime. I need it all for them to know I cannot waste time. Facing these oceans, still the water on my waistline. We trust the pockets and I only know it takes time. You can get it, got no worries, I'm gon' make mine. Going global, I'ma get it out the state lines. Paying taxes at a more than what you make now. Different bracket, eating off a different plate now. For my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, and play pretend. Aim off the pins, I get it in, I get it in, I get it in. For my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in, I get it in, I get it
in. Alright, so door handles are finished. I did 2 coats on them. I did 1 coat on camera, and it was a pretty not heavy coat, but I did a first tack coat. A couple minutes later, I went a little bit heavier on it. And then I did a full second coat, and these things turned out great. So they've been drying for close to an hour now. I'm gonna give them about another 2-3 hours to dry, and then we'll throw them back on the truck so we can finally have some door handles. Let's go ahead, get these things dried, and get them put back on. Okay, so obviously it's a new paint and the clear coat is a whole lot newer than the clear coat that's on the truck, but these look so much better than the like dark gold colored door handles that were on it before. It is still a little soft. I did move some of the paint just a hair when I was putting it on. I'm hoping we don't have the same primer issue as before, but luckily, once these dry some, we should be okay. At least they look better. I'm having issues with this paint that I'm using. So with the mirrors, at least, only thing I can suggest for myself in the future is to use a primer out of a gun, or use a primer from Duplicolor, a primer that's meant to be used with the Duplicolor, and then just use the clear coat over top, because I'm not having issues with the clear coat. I feel like I'm having more issues with the primer actually getting hard and the paint being hard underneath of it. So what I think for the future is I will no longer use Rust-Oleum primer. I'll either use a primer out of a gun or get Duplicolor's primer, and we'll try that on something like the grill or the headlights, something we can test out. But I'm gonna let these dry just a little bit longer, but before the sun English. Before the sun goes down, I wanted to get some footage of the door handles on the truck, which we got. Only thing I can say is, like, you can't really tell too much on camera, but you can tell in person that that's a newer paint than the rest of the truck, but that's to be expected with 23-year-old paint. All right, guys, so this is the final product of the door handles. We got them all completely color matched, got them on the truck, and I did it before the sun went down. I was very, very careful getting the lock cylinders put back into the front door handles, getting them put in, got everything hooked back up, and they are fully functioning. And guys, they finally completely match. So if you guys enjoyed this video, if you learned anything from it, go ahead and drop a like on it. If you didn't enjoy this video, or you think I did something wrong, please go down in the comments and let me know. While you guys are down there, hit the subscribe button, join the journey, cop some merch, be fucking great today. See you in the next one.
I work hard for my ends, at times I gotta repent. Just got paid, now it's spent. Just got late, now she vent. Call out sick, now we bad. Damn, we missed the event. We end up texting in bed. She like twisting my hair. PC, we search the web. Gotta make sure we fed, or else she gon' be fed. We do takeout instead. Don't know what got us here. Strangers stop and they stare. Oh yeah, we well aware that they be hella scared. Tryna hold my composure, never pose as no poser. Always stand like a soldier. Every day we get older. Dust that weight off my shoulder. The return of the solar. Never sell out, sure. Hustle your soul over. Used to cop on why